Yes, and if there's one country you don't want getting into your power grid, which would it be?
It comes from China.
Too late. The federal government has this capacity investment scheme that underwrites renewable energy projects. And one of these projects is a $120 million large-scale battery at Clements Gap in South Australia, which is run by the energy company Pacific Blue. Now, this company has an Australian executive team and local operations, but the News Corp papers have revealed that Pacific Blue, blow me down, is wholly owned by the Chinese government State Power Investment Corporation. It's been likened to allowing Huawei to build Australia's 5G network, which of course was banned. They weren't allowed to be included in that. And the concern here, Louise, is much the same as with all these Chinese EVs getting around, yes, and other Chinese vehicles for that matter, which we've been told by eminent security experts could potentially be disabled remotely, they could be detonated remotely, the cameras and microphones in them can be monitored remotely from China. You've got concerns now with these, I think they're called Yutong buses, where the UK is investigating them. I think it's Sweden and Denmark are investigating them because they've discovered that because they get remote software updates, they can essentially be controlled from China. And here we are saying it's all fine to have a big battery which could potentially be vital to the provision of power in South Australia, being controlled and built by a Chinese government-owned company, yes, with Australian government money, and that's all fine.
That's all
Sounds
fine.
great.
Yeah, it does sound great, doesn't it? So,
I don't get the problem.
I mean, where are the safeguards? Where are the checks? I mean, there's already sort of debate around whether malware is going to be sort of deposited into this system. Do we really want China over our critical infrastructure? It's not a toy. It sort of runs the backbone of our country. And the fact that Huawei wasn't allowed to roll out their 5G, that was good, that was banned. Dan Andrews tried to get the Belt and Road Initiative up in Victoria. That was also overridden, wasn't it? But now we're quite happy to sort of wipe our hands and say, that's fine, you can run the system with some Aussie faces at the front, sure, but it's all the strings are being pulled from China, as you say.
What's the justification for it, Joe?
I think the justification, as ugly as it is to have to face, is that China is such a huge global player across every single industry, and as a one-party...
Because we send them our coal.
As a one-party... Well,
they can do it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We send them our coal and they send us wind turbines.
Our green solar.
But now it turns out they've got asbestos in them, so that's going well
So does my house, incidentally, so it's got something in common. But I think it's just one of these things that's impossible to avoid. If you are doing business in any global trade, you will end up having to do business with China. Everybody does. And every major Chinese government is essentially either owned... Sorry, every Chinese company is essentially
every
either
Chinese
owned...
government.
Every Chinese major Chinese company is either owned by the government, the Communist Party, yes, or the Communist Party has oversight and can demand, and even if you're technically privately owned, the CCP can demand to look at your books, demand to look at anything that it deems to be in the national security. So it's almost just one of those kind of, you know, it's one of those unavoidable things. It's just sort of part of the industrial climate now. So you do have to be vigilant. But I don't think you'll ever be able to avoid...
I think the difference, though, it is unavoidable, I agree. But I think the difference is if you look at other nations, other first world nations who are doing the green energy, the green solar, let's give China all of our coal and then they'll give us our, virtue signalling turbines with asbestos. What they're doing in the background, these other nations, though, is looking at more long-term solutions. They are investing in nuclear for mid-long term. But Australia, we're just putting all of our eggs in one basket, and we're just putting all of our money into these renewables. And at least other nations have the foresight to see, sure, this might be a short-term thing, but we also, at the same time, working at the same time, like, you can do more than one thing at a time, Australian government. You could be looking at these more mid, long-term solutions so that eventually you can tap out of the China unavoidable that we mentioned. And I think that we are so behind as a nation when it comes to this stuff. And I get so annoyed at Albo and, at Bowen, who are making these decisions. I know, not me, Joe. But, like, they they are aware of the hypocrisy. They are aware of the irony that they are shutting down our coal stations, sending our coal to them for them to then make us coal-fired products. And they tell us that we're worried about our 18 or whatever we've got left coal-fired stations in Australia. Oh, our emissions here, yet we fund China's 2,000 plus ones.
Of course, and
hypocritical.
They keep spewing out more and more emissions. Though allegedly China will do something about emissions at some point. Don't worry about that. To be fair, SA Power Networks, formerly ETSA, the Electricity Trust of South Australia, was privatised in the 90s. And I believe Kelly's owned by the Chinese, and that's never particularly posed a problem. But we should be asking the question, in the era of modern warfare, which is what we're moving into now, it's not going to be fought with guns and ammo and bombs and jets and this sort of, maybe in later stages it will. But certainly the beginnings of any war in the future are going to target power, they're going to target telecommunications, basically.
Yeah, basically the plot of Die Hard.
And that's how you'll bring down a country. So surely we should be really concerned, and whether you ban it or you have to run the ruler over these things to the nth degree, we should be going, do we really want a country like China, particularly a Chinese government-owned company, being involved in the provision of power in Australia?
And it's not the future, it's now. Peter Jennings from the Australian Strategic Analysis says the Third World War has begun. It is a cyber war and it's going on now. We are under attack in cyber terms now from foreign powers. So it's already happening. So you're quite right. If we imagine, what that huge battery is in Adelaide, it's huge field full of lithium batteries. You know what they do? They explode. It will be not pressing a button turning off the power, it will be pressing a button causing a massive explosion and fire in Adelaide. And imagine if they flish the button to turn off every Chinese EV driving in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Those cities would go into gridlock because there are just enough around to lock up the place. So part of the answer is we need to be better at cyber warfare. We're engaged in it now. Xi Jinping has made it clear he wants to dominate the world, starting with complete dominance of the Asia-Pacific region. He's working really hard at it. Clearly we're a target, and we are busy spending all of our time being nice to China and being told, you're a handsome boy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, our government are doing it. There's three easy steps that our government do to make this possible. One, they indoctrinate children from a very young age into believing that the world's going to end in 2 years. So they create this climate crisis within kids.
We'll talk a bit more about that later.
And then two, we have education systems that don't teach children about any kind of, generation of energy. They don't teach about industrial machinery. They don't teach any of that. And then three, they get these people to then vote. And they vote in these politicians who are in bed with these systems and reaping the benefits.
Are we talking about the Chinese system or ours?
Our system.
There may be some
That's how they do it.